My name is Eliana Vu. I'm 22, and I'm slowly going blind, not metaphorically, not emotionally, biologically, medically, irreversibly. They say when you lose your sight, your other senses sharpen, but they don't tell you this. You also start to see people for who they really are. I didn't always know the truth about my family, but the blindness made it impossible to keep ignoring. Especially the day I found out what they did with the $85,000 I'd spent 3 years saving. But we're not there yet. Let me take you back to the week before everything shattered. 6 months. That's how long the doctors said I had. 6 months before I'd lose the last of my light. 6 months to fight for a future no one believed I deserved. Everyone else had written me off. A quiet girl, fragile, slow, a science student wasting her time on lost causes. Everyone except Jesse. He doesn't talk much. Doesn't need to. When he holds your hand, it's like his silence has weight. He hears what people don't say. He notices the way my pupils dilate when I step into sunlight. He memorized my walking patterns, just in case I ever lost my cane. Some people fall in love through poetry. Me, I fell in love with a line of code he wrote just to help me cross the street. Together, we built Echoloop, a device for the blind that maps the world through sound, turning footsteps into feedback. Turns out, the same mind that gets lost in algorithms was exactly the kind of mind I needed. When my own world stopped making sense, I thought that would be enough. The love, the logic, the plan, I thought if I worked hard enough, sacrificed enough, gave up birthdays, vacations, sleep, then maybe, just maybe, I'd earn the right to keep my sight. Turns out, what I didn't see coming wasn't the darkness, it was them. And what they did next, no one saw that coming either. The transfer should have gone through at 9 a.m. sharp. I'd checked everything twice: account number, routing code, currency exchange fees. I even confirmed the clinic's automated email. Payment must be received in full by 10:00 a.m. Singapore time. So why? Why was my balance showing $14? $27? I blinked, refreshed, logged out, logged back in, still $14, $27. I thought maybe it was a system error. Maybe I typed something wrong. Maybe. But then I noticed the transaction history. One withdrawal, 12 hours ago, $85,200, signed off. Same surname, different first name. Brian, my little brother, 18 years old, college dropout, professional excuse machine, and now, apparently, car owner. My fingers froze over the trackpad, my vision blurred, not from the disease this time, but from rage. Rage so sharp it cut through the nausea building in my gut. I ran. Through the dorm hallway, down the stairs, outside into the biting wind. Our house was just 6 blocks away. I didn't stop. Not at red lights, not when a cyclist swerved and cursed at me. I didn't even notice I'd been crying until I reached the front porch and my lashes stuck together. The front door was unlocked. That was their first mistake. The second was thinking I wouldn't check the garage, and there it was. A brand new Nissan GTR white, custom rims, leather seats still covered in plastic, sticker on the window, paid in full. I walked back inside. No one heard me. Not until the door slammed behind me. Dad looked up from the couch, remote in hand. Mom came out of the kitchen drying a glass. "Oh, Eliana," she said, casual, "you're early." I didn't speak, I just held up my phone, showed them the withdrawal, the timestamp, the name. Dad didn't flinch. He stood up slowly, like I was the one being unreasonable. "You weren't gonna make it, honey," he said. "Let us be honest." "You stole from me," I whispered. My voice cracked, but I didn't. Mom rolled her eyes. "It's not stealing, it's family." She smiled like I should be thanking her. "Brian's got real potential. This race could change everything for him, but I'm going blind," I said. She shrugged. "And you've had your whole life to prepare for that." I didn't even see Dad move, I just felt the shove. Sudden, violent, my shoulder hit the wall, hard. He grabbed my phone, slammed it onto the floor. Crack. That was the third mistake, because they forgot I back everything up. To the cloud. To Jesse, and Jesse. Jesse doesn't like broken systems. The air inside the house changed. It always did just before something bad happened. Thick, still, too quiet, like the oxygen had been sucked out by something unseen. My phone lay in pieces. Dad stood over it like he'd just stepped on a spider. "You're overreacting," he muttered, brushing past me. His shoulder hit mine again, not an accident this time. "You should have told us earlier. We could have used that money properly." Mom leaned against the kitchen doorway. She wasn't angry. Worse, she was calm. "This is why we never trusted you with anything big," she said. "All that science talk, all that independent woman nonsense. And for what? A surgery with a 50-50 chance that you'll just go blind slower." She moved closer, too close. "You should be grateful, Eliana. At least Brian has ambition. You've always just studied." I didn't cry. Not because I wasn't breaking, but because crying would mean giving them proof they were right. And I'd already given too much. I turned to leave. That was when Dad locked the door. The sound of the bolt sliding shut made my stomach twist. "You're not going anywhere," he said, voice low. "We'll figure this out as a family." He took my backpack, my laptop, even the Echoloop prototype Jessie and I had built, ripped from my wrist like a toy. "You don't need this anymore," he said, tossing it onto the counter. Mom was texting someone, probably Brian, probably telling him to avoid the house for a while, let things cool down. They didn't raise their voices. That's how I knew they were serious. They didn't need to scream, they'd already won. I was alone, sight failing, disconnected. No phone, no device, no signal, and the clock was ticking. Because if the payment didn't reach Singapore in 3 hours, my spot in the trial would vanish. Someone else would take it. And that tiny sliver of light I'd fought for would disappear with it. That's when I heard it, a vibration, very faint, from the kitchen drawer, the drawer where I hid Jessie's emergency failsafe, a backup chip we'd embedded in the first prototype, just in case one of us ever went missing. And now he knew, now he was coming. There's a kind of silence that doesn't soothe. It scratches at your ears, clings to your skin like static. This house had that silence. I was in my room again, door locked from the outside, window sealed, phone dead, Echoloop offline, time dripped. Each second was louder than the last. And I kept thinking, he won't find me in time, until the hallway light flickered, just once, then again, then went out. I sat up, heart hammering, trying to focus through the blur in my eyes. Then I remembered something Jessie once said: "If I can't knock, I'll flicker." We'd programmed that signal for emergencies. 3 pulses, pause, 2 more, I waited, and there it was. He was in, somehow. The house creaked in places that shouldn't creak. But no doors opened. No footsteps, just absence. Absence of certainty, of control, of their dominance. Downstairs, Dad cursed under his breath, something about the lights. Mom was already pacing. She hated power glitches. Hated feeling like something wasn't under her thumb, but this wasn't about electricity. This was Jessie's domain now, every bulb, every switch, every camera. Ours. He'd overridden the system the night he helped me install the new thermostat. Said it was just in case. I thought he meant in case we forgot the Wi-Fi password. Now I knew better. Then I heard it, the softest chime, 3 notes, played by Echoloop's beta version. Echoed from my drawer, it was active. He'd revived it remotely, and it was tracking me. I stood up, moved to the door, put my palm flat on the wood. 3 slow taps came from the other side, then silence. I mouthed, "Jessie." No answer, only a quiet click, the lock sliding. Releasing, the door creaked open. He stood there. Black hoodie, laptop in one hand, Echoloop controller in the other, no words, he just reached out. I stepped forward. Behind us, the thermostat beeped. Downstairs, the garage opened. And from the living room, Mom shouted, "What the hell is going on?" But Jessie didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't run. He just placed something small and warm in my hand. My Echoloop band, reactivated, recalibrated, ready. 3 minutes, he whispered. Then we go. We didn't speak, didn't dare. Jessie moved first, 3 fingers brushing the small of my back. Guiding me down the hallway like a shadow, I followed, not by sight, but by pattern. Every step calculated, every breath controlled. Downstairs, I could hear Dad muttering to himself, TV static, kitchen drawer slamming. The house wasn't fully dark, but the lighting was wrong, flickering, like the walls were nervous. Jesse had disabled the camera feeds. Not shut them off, no. He knew better. He looped the footage, 30 seconds on repeat, enough to fool anyone glancing at the monitor. As we reached the stairs, I felt the air shift, heavy, like we'd stepped into water. One misstep, one creak, and this would become a different kind of story. He paused on the third step. The old wood moaned beneath his heel. A beat, no reaction from below, we kept going. At the bottom, the hallway stretched open like a throat. To the left, the kitchen. To the right, the door to freedom. We turned right. The front door had a new lock, biometric, installed last year after Brian's drone got stolen. Jesse reached into his hoodie, pulled out a small drive, plugged it into the panel, waited. Green, but the second the lock disengaged. "Where do you think you're going?" Dad's voice, sharp, behind us. We didn't turn, didn't look back. Jesse's hand found mine, gripped tight, then, "Eliana." It was Mom this time. Closer, her footsteps in the hallway now. "You ungrateful little." I stepped out the door, into the freezing night. Jesse followed, closed it behind us, didn't slam, just clicked, and then we ran, not like children, not like thieves, but like survivors, down the block. Past the schoolyard where I used to pretend I wasn't different. Past the streetlight that always flickered like Morse code. Toward the one car still running. His silent, warm, waiting. He opened the passenger door, helped me in, didn't ask if I was okay, he already knew the answer. As we pulled away, I looked back once, just once. No sirens, no shouting. Just a house with lights still flickering. Like it couldn't decide whether to call us back. Or let us go. We didn't go home, because we no longer had one. Instead, Jesse drove through the night. 3 states in 6 hours, 1 rest stop, 2 energy drinks, no music, just silence, the kind that doesn't ache anymore, because we'd already outgrown the noise. By morning, we were standing outside a mirrored building in downtown Seattle. The sign above read, Neuromotive Ventures, Biotech Innovation Symposium 2025. Inside were the people who decided what progress looked like, what lives were worth saving, who got funded, and who got forgotten. We didn't have connections, but we had something rarer. Proof. Jesse opened his laptop, uploaded everything, the Echoloop prototype reactivated. My full medical history. Transaction logs of the stolen funds, the footage of Dad ripping the device from my wrist. The moment Mom laughed, then he sent one file. To every major committee member. With the subject line, "If you fund innovation, fund her freedom." By 9:00 a.m. we were inside. Not as guests, not as exhibitors, but as a disruption. They gave us 5 minutes. We didn't need 6. I stepped on stage. Didn't read from notes, didn't pitch features, I spoke. I was born with 20/20 vision, but I didn't learn to see clearly until the people closest to me took it all away. I'm not here asking for pity. I'm here with a system that turns sound into space. That replaces fear with direction. That gives the blind their own map of the world without needing sight. And it works, because I'm wearing it now. I turned, walked 5 steps. Echo, vibration. Shift, turned left, avoided a podium. The room went quiet. Then applause, not polite, not performative, the kind that felt like belief. We didn't walk out with a check. We walked out with a revolution. But revolutions wake the wrong people. 3 days later, a video leaked, a blurry clip. Me and Jesse outside the house. My parents crying on camera, accusing him of kidnapping me, accusing me of faking my blindness, of being manipulated, of betraying my family for tech money. The internet split. Some defended us, others demanded proof. The news called it the Echoloop hoax, but we were ready. Jesse posted the full security footage. No edits. No cuts, just truth. He added only one caption. We didn't ask for fame, we asked for peace. And when they broke the silence, we taught it how to speak. The video hit 18 million views in 4 days. Neuromotive called back. Funding approved. Patent pending. Clinic scheduled. scholarship program named after my late professor who always believed I'd do more than just survive. And me, I got my surgery, it didn't bring back all the light. But I saw Jesse's face in full detail for the first time. And it was enough. We called the new model of Ecoloop the Ray Vision because we don't need perfect sight to change the world, just vision. And someone who stays, even when the lights go out. It was a Tuesday, 5 years after the escape, 3 years after the launch of Ray Vision, 2 years since I stopped checking if my family ever tried to reach out, and 1 day before my 33rd birthday. The clinic was quiet that morning. My shift had ended. The last patient, a 6-year-old girl who could now navigate stairs without clinging to her mother's hand, had just waved goodbye. I sat in the reflection room, barefoot, a habit I picked up from Jesse. He said you feel the world better when you stop insulating your feet. That's when Clara, our admin, knocked lightly on the frosted glass. "There's someone here, says she knew you from before." I froze. I didn't need a name, didn't need context. The weight behind Clara's voice said it all. I nodded. Mom sat in the garden courtyard, wearing the same perfume I remember from childhood. Citrus and guilt. She looked smaller now, not old, just reduced. Like bitterness had burned her from the inside. We didn't hug, she didn't ask to. "I saw your TED Talk," she said after a long pause. "You looked different." I let her words hang. She always was good at making compliments sound like accusations. "I didn't come to fight," she continued. "I came to say I didn't understand. I thought I was protecting you by preparing you to lose. But you were never the one who needed fixing." That surprised me, not because it was kind, but because it was honest. We talked, not like mother and daughter, more like two women with unfinished pages between them. She didn't ask for forgiveness, I didn't offer it. But when she stood up to leave, she said, "You were always the light in our house. We just didn't know how to look directly at you." She left behind an envelope, inside, the Ecoloop she once threw on the kitchen counter. Fixed, polished, wrapped in velvet. I didn't cry, I just held it like a memory that no longer burned. That night, Jesse took me to the roof of our building. Sky above, city below. Silence between. He didn't kneel, didn't make a speech. He simply placed a small circular disc on my palm. It buzzed. Then a voice played, soft and clear. "In case the world ever goes dark again, I want to be your light. Will you let me?" I looked up. He wasn't smiling. He was trembling. That's how I knew he meant it. I closed his fingers around my hand, leaned my forehead against his, and whispered the only word that ever mattered between us. Always. The city lights blurred behind us, but I didn't need them. I already saw everything I ever needed. Right there in the dark. Life lessons from a girl who lost her sight and found everything else. 1. Family gives you blood, not always value. Just because someone shares your DNA doesn't mean they see your worth. And sometimes, the people who show up when you have nothing to give are the ones who were always family. Blood is biology, loyalty is choice. 2. No one gets to define your limits, even the people who raised you. Eliana was labeled early, fragile, fading, a waste of effort. But the girl they underestimated rebuilt the world for thousands like her. The real question isn't what they give you. It's what you create after they take everything away. 3. You don't need eyesight to have vision. Eliana didn't save the world through her eyes, she did it through her vision. Vision is deeper than sight. It's the ability to see beyond noise, past doubt into purpose. Vision is what lets you see who you are, even when the lights go out. 4. Sometimes betrayal is just fuel for the revolution. If her family hadn't stolen her future, Eliana might never have stepped on that stage. Sometimes pain doesn't break you, it reveals you. And the ones who try to silence you accidentally hand you the mic. 5. Real love doesn't ask you to be perfect, it just stays. Jesse didn't try to fix Eliana. He didn't run when things got hard. He stayed, he listened. And when the world turned dark, he became her light. When others blindfold you with doubt, you can still find the exit if you trust the light inside. You don't have to see the whole world clearly. Just see yourself for who you really are. If you've ever felt unseen, unheard, underestimated, you're not alone. Drop it in the comments and let the world know We see each other now,